I gotta say, the guy who packed these up, I appreciate what he's done. He really did pack these things pretty well, which is just you know, it's just a little thing, but it's a nice little thing. It's a nice little thing that makes me feel a little bit better about the whole situation, and I already felt okay about it. So, you know, when you feel okay about something, and then there's another reason to feel a little bit better about it, that's just kind of a nice little perk. All right, we'll just get organized here a little bit now that I've got now that I've actually got some box to work with. Needed a place to put all that stuff, so it can all just go into the box. It can get caught on my soldering iron, and hopefully that didn't change the camera. Let's just angle that back. All right, and here we go to number 4. Let's see what happens. I can tell you what happens. It gets disassembled. We'll break this apart. Break this apart, see what happens. The real exciting thing is when we plug them in. Do they explode? Do they function? Who knows? I don't have any idea. There was one of these missing. These little feet missing in that last one in the front. I don't think I missed it. I realized it when I was taking it apart, but yeah, I didn't see that. Interesting. Well, we'll find out the hard way by either not finding it ever or finding it on the floor with my foot. Yeah, you guys don't have to experience that pain with me. That really should just be the first thing I do every time. Take that bottom plate off. Because otherwise, I'll forget every time. But better to know it than not. All right. You know, I'd say that taking the screws out is riveting, but that would be a really bad pun. So I'm just going to make it in a really offhand way like that instead. That way I can't be blamed for it. The fallout is not my fault. Man, every single one of these just got stubborn and does not want to come out. Get them out there. Maybe. Maybe we won't get them out. There's one up here in the front. There it goes. There's 2 up here in the front. They're both being kind of stubborn. There's the other one. Let's see if I can use this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. I need that anyway. Oops. Wrong screw, wrong place. There we go. Okay. Let's get that. Now, maybe what I should do here is it's just easier to... It's exciting to get to the board, but this just has to be done. So I should just do it and get it out of the way. Rip the Band-Aid off. It's the part I want to do least. It's the least exciting part, but it's also just as necessary as all the other parts, so. All right, there we go. Come on, come on. There we go. I love how easy these eject buttons are to get out. That's really cool. I mean, it just, you know, it just takes a little bit of worry off of me when I'm taking it apart, figuring out what's actually going on, and it will be really easy to replace and put back in later too. So, I mean, that's just, it's really cool how that works. I really do like the way these are assembled so far. They're sturdy, they're nice. I kind of like to figure out how to fit, how to adapt the top so that without ruining the look of it, so that it will take, the American cartridge. Although I guess that's the reason to get the PAL version is so that you can get the physical restriction. Oh wait, no. The PAL version does have the physical restriction that the Japanese version does, and adds the electrical description. So yeah, that wouldn't help. There's still got to be a way to modify this cartridge slot so that it will take American games. I'll look at the next one because I imagine it's just in the plate on the top. Yeah, it looks like it because the hole is still there. Maybe the hole isn't quite wide enough, or the plate can just be modified. I don't know. We'll find out. That will be something that I'll do a video on, is modifying the Super Nintendo and modifying the Famicom to take the different size James. So this is also an SHBC with a sound card. Which is nice and helpful. Not really, but we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Man, even these screws are going to need a bath. That's kind of embarrassing. These things are filthy. They're absolutely filthy. Get that shielding off, get these screws out. Oh, that's silver and gold too. I'm still I guess really, I didn't really realize that you really only need on this, you only need to take out these 4 screws. I feel like that's different than, well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Not going to worry about that. I like the silver screws there because I'm used to seeing them, but now I'm looking at a bunch of these and it seems like they're interchangeable and it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the, let's just take this out and let's look at the thread. And let's see if the thread for the silver and the gold screws are the same. Because if they're the same, then it just doesn't matter. And it might be easier, you know, for my skull to look at these and... No, they are different. They are very, very different. So that I need to be careful of. I will go back and look at that other board that I made that swap on and make sure that I didn't screw something up. No pun intended on that. But I may have made a mistake there. And usually if there's a short screw and you put it in a long hole, or a long screw and you put it in the short hole, you have really done something stupid. It doesn't end well. So I've got to assume that I've killed that board by doing something rather foolish. I'm looking at where that screw comes through. So it goes into the RF out. It goes into the RF out. I didn't get any... Yeah, it doesn't look like it matters. Okay, so it comes out right here. And that's just underneath this shield. Now, I might need to be careful. Well, it's a ground screw anyway. So even if it grounded to the plate, it's still all going to ground. I don't think in this case it matters. I think I got lucky, and that doesn't matter. But, you know, you do want to be really careful of that, and you really don't want to do that if you can help it. And this one is also one of the ones that clips. So that's nice. And this one. Take these out. And there we go. One more for the bath. Next. I got 12 of these, so a lot more to go. Although only one case has been cracked so far, so that's not bad. That's a decent success rate. This thing looks like it's been in a mud storm, but let's see what it looks like on the inside. I mean, I kind of expect I know what it looks like on the inside. I suspect all of these are going to look relatively the same on the inside, which is really messed up. Just dirty as hell. Of course, I picked the day to wear a white shirt, didn't I? That was the wrong day to wear a white shirt. I wear this white shirt every single time I do something in the end. And I really like this shirt. A good friend of mine gave it to me. It's one of my favorite shirts. And I always wear it on the wrong day. Always wear it on the wrong day. Don't know why. Probably just because I'm messed up in the head. But, you know, that's what it is. I should just learn from my mistakes. But I haven't learned from my mistakes because I'm still doing this. Or rather, I'm trying to create more mistakes to learn from. Maybe that's a better way to look at this. Creating all the mistakes to learn from. You know, I was going to... I've got some drawers here. And I have a miscellaneous drawer for all the screws and stuff like that. That screw does not want to come out. We're going to see what actually comes out when I take this off. Oh, that's weird. I wonder what that is. Huh. Well, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look horrible either, so that's a thing. It seems like this screw is always being stubborn about coming out. Don't know why. I kind of like to know why. Man, that thing is corroded. That thing is super corroded. So I've noticed some of the American versions have these, some of the American versions do not have that. And I'm now starting to wonder if it is something for the Famicom games and not for the Super Nintendo games. But it just stuck around for a while in production because it was cheaper to assemble them en masse in the exact same way. I'm gonna look into that and see if that's actually the case or not. Yeah, that was a comedy of errors here. Big thing is, I think I lost my... No, I didn't. Okay, there it is. These things are kind of a pain to keep track of. So I want to try to keep track of that. We'll see whether I succeed or not in the end. So here's something I need to look into, but I don't know off of the bat. I don't know whether the sound cards are a good thing or a bad thing. I would imagine that driving a sound off of a separate sound card would give you better sound than not. But I really don't know. And I really should find out. That's one of those things that that I should look into to learn the meaning of. Yeah. I've done something a little backwards in my box of organization, but it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of obnoxious now. I mean, how cool would it be if we can get 12 of these up and running and, you know, set them free, put them back in the wild again? I think these consoles in a lot of ways like endangered animals. I mean, you know, they're just such cool old things, and they brought a lot of joy and happiness to a lot of kids. And I'm about to be a father myself if everything goes well and there are no complications. But you know, there are so many other kids that could get enjoyment of this, and I think the games are, you know, more interactive, and it's just there's something about them that really is pleasing. And if that can be shared with future generations and other people, you know, I think we have a duty to share that if we can. You know, not everyone has the skill to do this, and we'll see over time with me doing this what my skill set really is, and if it really is enough to do this. But you know, if we could put 12 more back out with a growing population, there were like 17 million of these or something like that. Is it? I think it's. I'd have to look at the numbers. I can never remember the number released in America versus the number released in Japan. But you know, there's, compared to how many people there are out there aren't that many of these systems. And when you've got the CPU chips blowing up with people doing mods and screwing them up, you know, it would just be nice to give some back as opposed to mess some up and lose them forever. You know, I think there's a real thing here where we can restore these, bring them back, and give another generation the ability to have fun and enjoy themselves. So I'm starting to form a suspicion here, which was not one I didn't have to begin with, to be fair, but it's starting to cement that these indeed have all been gone through. These are just the ones that were not desirable. All the one chips have been pulled out. All the boards that are good have been salvaged. There's been no RGB. There's been only SHVC and GDM. As I remember, those are the ones that are the most common. They're the worst boards. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't make that big of a difference. And a pixel is still only gonna, like, what are you gonna do? Upscale a pixel so you can look at a bunch of square blocks? Like, you know, it's not that important. But it is interesting to see all of these are basically the same board revision. Makes me kind of want to know where the guy got them, to be honest with you. Yeah. Huh, that's interesting. This RF is kind of an interesting beast. Anyway, a little bit more time. Oh, wait. All right, this is the 6-1. So we're just under halfway there. All right, this case has a bunch of cracking on it, so what I'm kind of hoping is I'll have a case with some dead boards at some point. The case is good, and I can just put these in the case, be it a Famicom or be it a Super Nintendo. So that'll be interesting. We'll see. Sorry, I keep moving off camera. As I said, I'm still getting a feel for where the camera is exactly. in front of me. I mean, it's impossible to miss, but somehow I miss it. So this one is labeled SHVC. So I'm wondering if, yeah, there's been one GDM, all the others have been SHVC. So that's kind of good to know. I suspect they're all going to be that, but you know, I don't know. SHVC 002. I don't know what that revision means yet. You know, I'm learning more and more what to actually look for too, as far as revisions go. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. That's not pleasant. That's ugly. That's downright ugly. There's broken screw holes here. There's a lot of stuff wrong with this. This case, I don't know. This case might clean up, but I don't have very high hopes for this one. I have a feeling this might be a parts case. In fact, this might not have anything salvageable in it at all. Maybe some of the chips. It kind of depends on when the water damage hit. But yeah, this is nasty. Better me than you guys, right? Ugh. I'd like to know what that is. It's not mold. I mean, obviously, it's something solid. It could just be corrosion. I don't know. It is not pretty, no matter what way you look at it, though. Again, shouldn't have worn a white shirt. Never thought you'd hear a guy say that, huh? Well, to start, nice stack of screws going there, though. Gotta remember to take these out. I keep forgetting. I mean, I've been taking them out, but just, you know, at the last second, because I've been forgetting to. I mean, you guys also get to see, like, you know, the more you do this, the more adept you get at it, the faster you get at it. So, I do have a 5-gallon bucket of isopropyl alcohol, and I think this one might be a candidate for trying an experiment I thought of, which is taking one of these boards and just dropping it in that. Just seeing what happens. The thing is, I don't want to waste my gallon of isopropyl alcohol. It's $75 for 5 gallons. $75 for 5 gallons, and I am not the richest person in the world. $75 means a lot to me. I would rather not just waste it if I can help it. But learning might be worth it. You always pay to learn, don't you? Always pay to learn. In a lot of ways, that's what this is. This is just me holding a clinic for myself and for anyone who cares to watch. So, you know, hopefully there's, at least it's all on the cartridge slot. So that's nice. And we're going to go for this. I have a method to my madness, if I can remember what that method is. And there is a lot of madness here. All right. One more. This one should be fun. Got all sorts of stickers on it. All the stickers will come off. There will be no joy here. So if you watch this and this was your Super Famicom, I'm going to destroy your childhood. I'm almost sorry. Almost, but not. Because now it's mine. Okay, yeah, this is HVC as well. So I think all these are as HVC. I wonder if the Famicoms basically are. I don't know how much of a difference on the boards there was between... Oh, that worked out well. I don't know how much difference there was on the boards between the Famicom and the US. Yeah, it's just something I'm not aware of. I've got a list of things that I'm learning here. It's go look at this and figure out what's actually going on here and what the release dates were. There's some people out there who will probably criticize me for that, for not knowing, and that's fine. But you know what? The more of us that can actually make a living doing this, supporting this stuff, and keeping it going, the better. And in order to learn that stuff, you have to understand that you need to learn it. So, yeah, I may not know all of this stuff yet, but the key thing is that, you know, I really want to learn and I really want to know, because I really care. So, if this is something that I can fix, I can figure out, and I can keep more of these going. Hopefully there's a little more space for me to, you know, be able to make a living doing this. But also, you know, to grow the community a little bit by being one of the people involved in it. Every single person who started in a community, you know, they didn't have the knowledge before they started. They had to learn as they went, and a lot of people forget that. You know, they think that they forget where they started in their roots, and it's sort of sad. I mean, I was a chef for 26 years. Did it for a very long time. I love what I did. I ended up having to stop because of health issues, and I would. You know, I never would have chosen to leave my career, but life told me I needed to be elsewhere. So I started looking, and I was like, well, you know, I refuse to do anything I'm not passionate about and I don't really care about. So you looking at people going into being cooks and being chefs and helping train people over years and seeing where they go and what they do, you know, I see a lot of people forget that at one point they didn't know anything and they had to learn, and so they're very judgmental and critical of others who are in that state themselves, and it's kind of sad. It really is kind of sad. Instead of judging and you know, really being kind of pushy or even just jerks. When you have somebody who's in your industry and wants to improve it and help and be involved in it, it's often a good idea to encourage them and to help them. All of my kitchens I saw as teaching kitchens, as places to learn, because you never stop learning. So it's not like I'll learn all of this stuff and then I'll know all of it and I'll be good to go. If I end up being able to do this for years, then in 10 years I'll be doing it and looking back, and I'll still be learning stuff every single day. I'll find a new problem. Maybe I'll figure out a way to quickly and easily fix a killed CPU. I don't know. I mean, is it likely? Not the most likely on that. But without people trying, these things can't happen. And the more people are trying, generally the easier it is. The more brain power is on it, the more likely an outcome is there's something likely to happen. That's at least the way I look at it. It could be wrong, but to be fair, I don't care if I'm wrong. I just want to try. Oh God, this power. I'm gonna take this off real fast because this really, really doesn't want to come. And I really, really don't want to force it to the point where I do any damage to it. Okay, there we go. I have to imagine that those are pretty easy to fix, though. Fix and replace. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't had to do that yet. None of the switches have been bad, which has been kind of a nice thing. But I'm sure I'll come across a switch that's bad at some point. At some point. All right. Oh God, that's sad to see. Look at all of that. Look at all that. Well, nothing to be done about it right now. Because that's not the point of this. The point of this is to take all of these apart and get them clean. Once we get them clean, we'll sit down and we'll start troubleshooting them. Again, once my power supply gets here. That was a real smart move, right? To buy all of these with no peripherals and then realize, oh wait, I don't have a power supply for this stuff. Yeah, that was a real genius move on my part. Minus any of the genius. Alright, so I'm going to say this now. I've remembered the voltage regulator screw. Let's see if by the time I finish these two screws, I forget again and try and take that plate off. Since I'm still talking about it, probably not. But just so you have a little bit of a stream of conscious, you can see what actually happened. I don't know if I'll post this whole thing in one shot or whether I'll do it in two shots. We'll find out. And you'll see, because you'll see how it goes up. Alright. Ooh, I don't like the sound of that. Sounds like there's something rolling around. The case is already busted. I can already see that. The case is busted and this screw doesn't want to come out. That's going to be problematic. The screw's gone sideways. I think the pole on this one has broken. That's sort of what I've experienced in the past on this, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully not, but maybe. This is also an SHBC. Yeah, as I said, I think all of these are going to end up being that. But there was the one GD-ROM. So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, all of the screws on this case are not wanting to unscrew. So that does not give me high hopes for what the inside of this case is going to look like. I think this is going to be a right and proper mess. If I had to guess right now. Oh yeah, I can already see. You look right here. You might be able to see, like right there. There's hold the camera. There's a hole down in there where that hole has clearly broken off. So this case is probably toast, at least for the bottom. We'll see what the top is like. And I can't get this back corner one either. It feels like it's gonna. This feels like it's gonna come off. This feels like it's gonna be a real mess. Okay, see that's that broken piece. Actually, surprisingly, it doesn't look as bad inside as I thought. This is already fallen out. That probably is. Ah, there we go. So yeah, this is broken out. So this case top is going to be useless, which is good to know. I will save my time and not wash it. However, this is probably the cleanest one we've seen yet. I don't want to grab it by the side like that. There we go. Okay. Give a little love. Woo! That's an interesting thing. I don't know if I've ever seen both of them stripped out like that. Let's see if I can get that out. Ah, top and bottom. Yeah, this case is just toast. I want that screw, though. I want that screw. For no reason. I just want that screw. I mean, you know, the more extra parts you have, the better. I am going to strip this down for its essentials here, but yeah, I'm not going to bother with the actual case just because, yeah, it's not worth the time. It's already busted. But because I broke one tab on one of the other ones, or it was already broken, this could be useful in that sense, like replacing parts that are already busted on the other ones. We'll find out. We will find out. Yeah, this looks like it'll be interesting. Alright. My fingers are starting to get sore doing this, I will say that, from pushing these little tabs. So that is something that's kind of obnoxious about this, though, is that because of the way this is hooked on here, getting your fingers underneath this edge can be a little bit of an irritation. Alright, there we go. Alright. Cool. There we go. That wasn't the worst. Definitely been worse already. Namely, it didn't break, so that's a huge perk. Got all this. Got all this, and this thing is just trash. I'll just chuck it on the floor for the moment. What do I do with this? Alright, now this is going to be interesting because you'll notice that this is a different plating than the other. It did say SHVC on the bottom, but that does look like a very clean board, and this is about the first board we've seen that's clean. So that's interesting. And then with only the heat shielding on here, I kind of, yeah, it would help if I remove that, wouldn't it? With only the heat shielding on here, I'm kind of interested to see whether this actually is a different one than what we've got. I mean, clearly I'm excited about it because I can't even unscrew a screw now. Yeah, see, this is a GPM. So they all seem to be SHVC or GPM. But, you know, I kind of like having a couple varieties here. This doesn't have the sound card. I have to imagine that the SHVC is a little more desirable because of the sound card. Again, I figure that anything that has a dedicated board on it, so this is the other one that was screwed on there. I'll have to figure that out in a second. But I have to figure that anything here that has a dedicated sound is going to be worth more than, or more interesting rather, you know, worth more academically than the ones without the extra stuff. Now what was, oh, that's right, this is busted off too. So yeah, this bottom is not worth salvaging either. I do want all these screws just because it never hurts to have extras for that sort of stuff. If I can even get that started. There we go. I think. I hope. I'm trying not to put any real pressure on the board too. So that's not the easiest. There we go. Alright. Cool, we did it. Whoops. Wrong stack. In fact, I think I put both in the wrong stack. Doesn't really matter. But I like consistency. I'm a big fan of consistency. Always good when you flip a screw out and broken plastic follows, right? Alright, so that's toast. Don't only worry about that, although we will take the bottom plate off. Because you never know. You never know when that's going to be useful. Well, I mean, this has been a few of them so far. I love the dark green on this board. Boards are neat. I like these boards in general, actually. Different number of screws on this one for the shielding. I'm wondering if that really is it. Yeah, it is. And see, I forgot the voltage regulator again. But this board is a lot cleaner than all the others, so that's kind of nice. We actually have a clean board here. If nothing else, you know, like take the buses off and a couple things like that. If these boards really are dead, then just salvage the PPUs and CPU and see what we can make of it. I'm looking for a good way to test whether those are good or not. My friend is the real genius when it comes to that stuff, so I'm better at doing the soldering in that area. He is very good at figuring out how the electricity flows through this so it can be tested